This is another episode of the Secret Guam podcast.
Fanachu ST official na podcast dari grupon Independent Guåhan.
When people talk about decolonization, they're like, oh, well, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Who cares about decolonization?
My generation of parents that are saying, hey, I don't know my language, but I want my kids to know my language.
Whatever they took away from us is gone.
So these are images that I'm sure you're familiar with, drawings of an ancient society.
Speak to your parents, write things down, record them.
Magellan's naming of our islands and calling us thieves and that whole discourse. Magellan started to just look like someone who visited a restaurant and didn't like the service.
Decolonization is critical. Political status is absolutely necessary.
Woo! Biba, buenas. Hafade todos hamzu guanaw hudzong. Inano si Michael Luhan Bavakwa. Nuevo na sakan, pareo na podcast. It is 2026, hunggan este 2026. Biba onyo nuevo, mago fitinalaikan ni sakan. It is a new year. Zan, lo, ti ordinario este na sakan na para hami guini gifanatsu. It is not just any year. At Fanachu, STE mina Jess na aniversario para este na podcast. Zan STE mina Jess na aniversario lokwi para Independencia para Independent Guåhan. 2026 is not just the 10-year anniversary for Fanachu. It is also the 10-year anniversary since the start of Independent Guåhan as a community organization. And so, because this is the first episode of 2026 for Fanachu, because we're starting the 10 years. There's a lot of different things planned for the 10-year anniversary for Fanachu and for Independent Guåhan, as Fanachu started off as the podcast for Independent Guåhan. I thought, let's do a State of the Podcast episode just to remind us where we've come from. Ginin Manu hit. Then, what does Fanachu have to offer? And so we saw a little bit there in that lovely, bonito na Tinanya, the beautiful trailer showing that was made a few years ago to promote some of the stuff that Fanachu has. And so let's get into Fanachu as a podcast and where it comes from. Of course, nowadays, Fanachu is something, it is a weekly podcast. But, I do want to kind of just put this out there at the very beginning. Remember, one of the ways that you can support Fanachu and what we do is, of course, to sign up as a patron on Patreon. Patreon.com/Fanachu. Every new sign up gets t-shirts from Independent Guåhan, stickers from Independent Guåhan, and as you can see, there's different designs. There's different designs that you can get. Now, you can get these t-shirts and stickers free when you come to the events that we organize here in Guam. But if you are away from Guam, or if you can't make it to any of the events, then you can always support Fanachu, support independent and indigenous media by signing up as a patron for as little as $1 a month. But you can get t-shirts, you can get stickers, you can help make Fanachu possible. And one of the things that I'm very happy about, of course, is we printed these last year to show appreciation. These are revolutionary carabao Zanbabao. These were designed by Sumahi Chan Bavakwe I Masamkuna Patgonhu. And it shows a carabao, a very matak nga na klasen carabao na esti, zan hahahatsay babaw niya, raising high the Babao Fanachu, the banner of Fanachu. And so you also get these. We were giving these out free to our longtime patrons, mailing them out last year, handing them out. But if you sign up while supplies last, we'll also include them with your merch. And so remember, patreon.com/Fanachu. That's what you can get for signing up. At the Nestina Bonito na Frenella Siha. Lots of stuff. And as the year goes out, we'll be offering more things to help celebrate the 10th year of Fanachu. And so, por favor, you can always sign up and show your support. Hungan. Now that we've gotten sort of the plug out of the way, let's talk about Fanachu. Let's talk about where Fanachu comes from. Because nowadays you'll see me, of course. I'm the one that hosts Fanachu. I'm the one that runs Fanachu, and I have been a part of it since the beginning, but I am not the one who started Fanachu. And so in truth, Fanachu was started by Manny Cruz, now Dr. Manny Cruz, a professor at the University of Guam, but Manny Cruz, who was a member of Independent Guåhan, who was part of our media committee for Independent Guåhan back in 2016 when Independent Guåhan had first started. We were having lots of community meetings, general assemblies. We were doing a lot of things, and we were having coffee shop conversations. And so Manny decided to basically, podcasting was newer back then. Nowadays, everyone has a podcast. I have a podcast. I think some of my children have podcasts. Everybody's got a podcast. You doggaw ads what's the pads and syempre gwa podcast na yung chitoro ads na bat kadon tawtaw. And so, but 10 years ago, podcasts were newer. They had been around, of course, but they were newer back then and less common. And there was definitely not a lot of podcasts on Guam. And there was not a lot of Chamorro podcasts. And so Manny had this wonderful idea. And so, that Independent Guåhan should have a podcast. And so a lot of those early episodes, as you can see right here, happened because I was a professor at the University of Guam back then. They happened in classrooms or offices at the University of Guam, where professors, community members, activists, students would come together for conversations. You can see Manny here interviewing. This is from a very early episode. This is, you can see here, Rebecca Garrison, who was doing her research and supporting community demilitarization efforts on Guam at that time. You can see my pari here, Jess Tsatgoloff, who has been with Fanachu and Independent Guåhan ever since. And of course, a very young Pulan, Edleon Guerrero here, who was part of the media committee for Independent Guåhan back then and now is an influencer, has got his own Patreon that you can support, his own YouTube channel, and so on. And so this is how Fanachu started at that time. And as we are kind of reminiscing and reflecting, I wanted to share because to give a sense of how new it was, because nowadays, if somebody says they're starting a podcast, it's kind of like, oh yeah, maulaka, yeah, syempre tagwano toru champugay podcast hungan. But at that time, it was much newer. And because Manny was in the media spaces, he was researching the media, he was connecting to media people. When he started Fanachu, the media on Guam was intrigued by it, and Independent Guåhan was new. And so there was some coverage in the newspapers and on the television of sort of this new podcast. And so I wanted to share sort of and I'll try not to cringe. I'm totally going to cringe. This is from KUAM back in 2017, after Fanachu had been around just for less than 6 months. This is an interview that KUAM did with Manny and with me about Independent Guåhan's new podcast.
Fanachu is a podcast that can be found on iTunes, SoundCloud, and your Android player that offers conversations pushing consciousness in the Marianas to new levels. The podcast series was launched by the Independence for Guam Task Force back in November of last year.
For the past year or so, we've been trying to educate the community in as many ways as possible. And so we have monthly General Assembly meetings, we've had teach-ins, we've had coffee shop conversations. And because it's been difficult to get funding for a lot of our activities, we've had to find, the tadza salapi, the low-cost ways of getting the message out there.
Dr. Michael Bavacqua is a professor at the University of Guam and co-chair for Independent Guåhan, and he's also part of the media committee.
Our role is to educate the community about decolonization in general, but independence as a political status option in particular.
Manny Cruz serves as not only the co-chair for the media committee, but is also a master's student at UOG currently working on his thesis. He notes his research interests are what drew him to activism and getting involved.
Activism and Chamoru culture, these are all things that I've been interested for a long time now, but I've always sat on the outside as a researcher. And I figured I had the skills, I have the equipment, this can be my way of contributing, and it's a grassroots approach. It requires very little budget, and something I like to talk about a lot in my research and on the podcast too is it's called the democratization of media, and that basically means that the ability to publish content is spread to the masses, and it's no longer stored in big news corporation.
To date, there have been a total of 3 podcasts featuring members from the task force and even difference chef Jason Datwin, and have been held at the Java Junction in Hagåtña.
We set a time, we set a date, and we invite people to come and hang out with us. And if they have any questions, if they have any issues they want to talk about, we just form a conversation around it.
Bavacqua says that it's been really exciting because people bring all sorts of questions and ideas.
One person was asking about, is decolonization anti-American? Another was thinking about, how is this connected to like Scotland and Brexit and stuff like that? And so it was really interesting to just have this conversation space where all these people could flesh out their ideas, their concerns, with the wider goal of just, of enlightening themselves and becoming more educated on this topic.
The most recent coffee conversation was held on Saturday and saw over 20 people in attendance.
We had people that are in jazz bands. We had Shannon McManus there. We had like middle school teachers. We had UOG students. It was a really great conversation. Even had biologists. Like all of these people just coming together, kind of sharing their thoughts, but also their concerns. Like that's the thing, is that's what's great about this type of education, is that it's not just the converted, but it's people who are interested, but maybe they don't want to go to like a public meeting.
Instead, you can download the podcast and listen to people who may share the same opinions and concerns as you, and encourage you to perhaps attend the next teach-in or coffee conversation. Bavacqua puts it best. It's all about the different layering of education.
You don't want just one approach. You got to give people just like this net. It's this like wide, vast net of approaches so that they can find sort of their point of contact in that. What is the thing that will grab them and bring them into the conversation?
And although podcasts as a medium is still pretty new, it's generating quite the response.
It's clear that we're reaching people and we're doing it in a different way.
Young people nowadays, the older generation may be more used to kind of sitting at a public meeting and like getting information that way, but the younger crowd is more used to obtaining information from their phone. And so if you can give it to them in a way that they can access it while they're working out, while they're driving to work, then you have a better chance of reaching them. And so that's what's really important about this, is that the issue of decolonization and what political status is next for the island is so important that we can't really afford to just do it the old-fashioned way. It's got to be something that'll reach as many people as possible.
Get involved and get informed. For more details, check out Independent Guam Task Force on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Oh, iba't masuk. Igap tuloy. Estaba ko Fanachu na igap tuloy. Uy. Man, kon tiulangang ayade, tiulalangang. Okay, sorry, dispensa too. I knew that I was going to have quite a bit of cringe seeing that, and I did not disappoint. All right, and so that takes us back a little bit, right, to the start of Fanachu, Independent Guåhan, sort of Manny Cruz bringing about the democratization of media, right? And for Independent Guåhan, we had lots of public meetings, community spaces, sort of the traditional route. We engaged in protests, but we also wanted to take advantage of other forms, social media and podcasts and so on. And so for several years, Manny Cruz, I refer to him as Ininunay, the godfather. He was the godfather who started Fanachu. And then, of course, he was there for a time, but then he went and left for his PhD program. And Fanachu then was taken over by Si Lawrence Lezama, or as I referred to him as Sigwenzama. And but during this period, Fanachu was primarily a audio podcast. We did eventually start to live stream episodes. We started the Patreon so that we could get support. And we really put out that idea that this is independent and indigenous media, right? It's made from the Chamorro perspective and it's independent. I mean, it's really just those who are making it. It's us. And we believe in independence for Guam. And so, these are not corporate interests. These are not sort of colonial interests, because at that time, the Pacific Daily News was owned by Gannett, which was an off-island company, which had its own sort of national, international interests. And so, we're not like a big, huge construction company. We're not a big, huge insurance company. We're not a giant rich family. This is independent, indigenous media. That was really the call, and that was the focus. And Fanachu at that time was a bunch of volunteers. It was people such as Albert Toves, Hannah Repadulia, Jess Tsatgaloff, who we saw earlier, even see Michael Phelps, Matsolik, Sindalu, as some people know him as, and others who would do the production work, who would arrange the guests, who would host, who would be part of conversations. And there was collaborations. We did stuff related to the election in 2018. This was one of my favorite episodes at that time. This was Manamku for decolonization, with two Chamorros who were born, who are war survivors, born before World War II, who talked about, why they believe that Guam should decolonize. And it was important. It was one of my favorite episodes because while it's easier for younger people to express why where they believe in decolonization, why they're open to it, we often think that older people don't have critical thoughts, or they're stuck in their ways, or they're patriotic, or this and that. They believe in the liberation, whereas it's younger people who don't believe in the liberation. And so it was important to have, General Ed Perez, who, served the United States military for a long time, but has an immense amount of critical thoughts about what Guam could be outside, other than being under the boot of the United States. Or Tony Baza, who worked in Washington, D.C. for so long and really saw that the world is so much more than being just a possession of the United States, and that Guam could be so much more. And so these were men who experienced immense racism, discrimination in their lives, in the military, in the United States. I mean, one of my, Tony Baza told so many stories of what he and other Chamorros experienced in terms of segregation and racism when they went to the States in the 50s. And so, but those experiences molded them to think that Guam and Chamorro people were capable of more of the status quo. And it was amazing to be on a podcast with them. In those years, this was one of the most listened to, the most watched, because this is when we started to live stream episodes. This is the one that featured Iman Fafanatgwe Siha, the Bailan Chamoru, the huge, we had one episode in which Jonathan Perez had come and talked about kind of what it was like, the issues of Chamorro dance and GDOE and Chamorro language. And then from there, he had invited the others to come and share in a conversation. And it was incredibly powerful. It was so meaningful, especially because you get reminded of how things have shifted. You get reminded of how these for some of these, for today, when the Ibendishon, as it's called, when Hinatsan Ilati, when these chants are performed, They touch us. They might bring us to tears. There's formality and ceremony to it. But these Fafanagui are old enough. They were there at the beginning. So they remember when you performed chants like that and people would make fun of you. People would tease you. Some of them shared about how, they performed at fiestas in like the 80s or in the 90s, and people would throw things at them, their own relatives. And so having a space in which people talked about that, and you get reminded that the moment you are in is not the beginning and the end of time. Understanding how culture has changed, identity has changed is key. This was like, for a long time, this was the most watched, most listened to, most everything episode of Fanachu. This was one of our big live stream episodes. We did several state of the podcast, state of the movement episodes. We had a big episode, I think it was for the 100th episode of Fanachu, at a Siga coffee shop where people came, had their time on the mic. This was Rob Limchiako who came in, but we had others come and then talk about, their thoughts on decolonization, their thoughts on political status, their thoughts on Chamorro culture, and so on. And so Fanachu was just this space where, important conversations were happening, and very focused, deep conversations too. This is not a social media comment war. This is not like a puff piece on KUAM News. This is one of the benefits of the podcast space, is that these were profound discussions, probing discussions too. Now, during the pandemic, things started to shift. And a lot of the people who were helping Fanachu before left, because many of them left island. Many of them changed careers. They had been students, grad students. They went off to grad school. They left island, or they changed, different types of things. And so Fanachu started to shift. And it became primarily my responsibility after that. And so during the pandemic, Fanachu underwent this change where it primarily became a Zoom thing, like it is right now, where some episodes are done live, but most of them are done in Zoom, like this, because it's just easier now, because it is primarily a one-person operation. And so, but the episodes continue. And so these are some of those that happened in 2020. We engaged more because it was the pandemic, and Zoom and virtual stuff was big with the diaspora. We engaged with other islands. We began more and more solidarity episodes, talking to people, and this is the Palau episode, talking to people in Puerto Rico. We started to have more and more thematic series of episodes. So we had a series on navigation. We hosted 2 roundtable discussions, which included Grand Master navigators from other Micronesian islands. But we also brought in Chamorros and other Micronesian islanders to talk about their experiences in reviving and maintaining traditions of seafaring. And to give you a sense of some of these, this is some of the diaspora episodes. We have environmentally focused episodes. One of my favorites in terms of the series is the Chamorro protest history. So as I get older, as more and more activists get older, I use Fanachu as a reason to get them to sit down and talk about what they've experienced, to talk about what they went through, to talk about what they did. Because for some of them, for some of the protest movements, the groups that they were part of, there may be very little to nothing that is documented about it. And so if they do not talk about it, and if we don't hear it and we don't write it down, then it's almost as if within a generation or two, no one will know that part of the story. And so as a historian, as a curator, as a Chamorro, these are important things to me. And so I have tried to use Fanachu as a way to connect these things. When I find that there are people that have important stories to tell that are about the Chamorro people, whoever they are, especially if they are activists, or have parts of our activist history, our history of resistance, our history of protest, I try to bring them on to help them document. But one of our most popular series is Ifinut Chamoru episode Siha. And so in response to our Fanachu patrons, our followers, our fans, there has been huge interest in Fanachu creating more content, Gifinut Chamoru, content that teaches Chamorro. And so we have tried to do that. And so we have tried every month, if not every month or two, where we have Finut Chamoru episodes. And they may be teachers, they may be community members, cultural practitioners, elders, Guanabiay Manyasiga Guinigi Islas Marianas, Guanabiay Manyasiga Gi San Lago, but wherever they are, Chamorro speaking, have them engage in a conversation for an hour on a topic to help those who want to hear Chamorro, to help perpetuate the language, to keep the language alive, but also just to remind people that what does it mean if a language is alive? It means people use it. It means you hear it. It means it's not just as something you chant in a sadi for ancient ancestors. It means that we use it to talk about today. And so as of right now, Fanachu has had more than 380 episodes. Woo! Zadzasu! Matteri zafaizu tio hongesti. Guanabetio hongesti. I cannot believe it sometimes, but we're almost to 400 episodes for Fanachu. In this year, we will reach 400 episodes. It is amazing to me that Fanachu has gotten this far. And the reason that it has is because of those who support Fanachu on Patreon. Those who give $1 or more and make it possible that Fanachu can buy software, programs, because we live stream on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We also use a software program so that Fanachu can be available in audio form on different platforms easily. There's all sorts of stuff, all sorts of expenses, and those who support on Patreon make it possible that we can afford these things. And one of the biggest and most amazing things that Patreon support has made possible is Miget's Chamorro vinyl collection, as I refer to it, but the digitization of, at this point, more than 400 Chamorro songs from Chamorro vinyl albums, and they're uploading to the Fanachu YouTube page. And so those of you who support on Patreon make it possible so that we can buy Chamorro records, we can get the equipment to digitize them, we can upload them, and we can make sure that this part of Chamorro history, this part of Chamorro culture isn't lost. I always todo champu gagag tsenglong estinagi hinasoku. Every time somebody tells me, and I hear it almost every single week, somebody says, there's so much Chamorro music on Spotify. There's so much Chamorro music on Spotify. People tell me that all the time. But every time I look, I see there's so little Chamorro music on Spotify. It like hurts me because there's actually like hundreds of Chamorro musicians, probably thousands. There's so much out there. It's just that maybe they did one album, maybe they did two albums, maybe they did one CD, maybe they did one cassette, maybe they just had a song on a vinyl record, but no one is uploading their stuff, or people, and so we have to digitize it, we have to collect it, we have to make sure it survives, and so that's what we do. Some of these records are very hard to find. Some of them have very low runs, limited runs, and so it costs money to get them. And so, but I'm so happy that we've been able to digitize. We've also been able to purchase and collect and preserve hundreds of cassette tapes and hundreds of CDs. And so with that, once we run out of vinyl records to digitize, we will be moving on to cassette tapes, because there are actually way more Chamorro artists that released cassette tapes than vinyl records. Because vinyl had a much higher bar to get over. Cassette tapes was much easier by that time to record to. And so the next batch, we release these vinyl digital recordings uploads in batches of 30. The next batch will come from primarily this beautiful album, The Music and Legends of Guam. And some of the songs on this, it's instrumental. Some of the songs are familiar. Some of the songs are not familiar. And so, but it's just a great album. And then when people ask about sort of like our roots of our music, there's so much on this album that people can learn from. And so it'll be good to put it on YouTube so that people today have access to it. Now, I've talked a lot about, Patreon. You can support on Patreon and this and that. For those of you who can support, there's 3 different levels, Hatsahugwatulu. One of the reasons why, in addition to just supporting Fanachu, you might want to support is because you also get access to things that are exclusive to Patreon patrons for Fanachu. There are virtual lecture series that you can only gain access to if you are a patron of Fanachu on Patreon. There are multiple virtual lectures, which I did and I released for free, and they were out there, and then they are archived on Fanachu. And so any Fanachu patron can watch them and access them, including the archival materials, the PowerPoints related to them. And so there are, for those of you who want to know more about Chamorro culture, Chamorro history, Chamorro language, for those who want deep dives, for those of you who want interesting stories, you might want to consider signing up as a patron on Patreon, because you will get access to things like the Secret Guam podcast. So the Secret Guam podcast is something that gets put out about every month or so. And it is, as the name implies, these are stories which you might not hear, secret stories. Just kidding. Some of them might be, but a lot of them are just, you would only have to have the most radical or the most sort of like the bestest y mas maulik y mas malatis and y mas tomtomnai na maestro historia en Guåhan, the best, the deepest, like Guam history teacher to know some of these things. Because a lot of these things are things where they come from me having collected, at this point, hundreds of thousands of documents and things related to Guam history, and then me telling stories about those things. And so the Secret Guam podcast has all sorts of things, stories and recountings of ancient Chamorro battles, ancient Chamorro stories, like, for example, 3 things that you probably didn't know about Magalahi Kipua. These are 4 of the episodes from 2025. This was a story about one of the first Chamorros to have a documented tattoo, and his amazing story of traveling around half of the world and then returning to Guam, and then being one of the few people on island that had distinguished, like, noticeable and recognizable tattoos. And so an interesting sort of story, and you can learn about him, but learn about him also in the context. Ooh, this is a story, and this is a story of, because sometimes we don't hear these anymore, but I've collected a lot of these. This is a story of a Chamorro who resisted racial segregation. When going to the United States after World War II and being in a restaurant that refused to serve him, how did he resist that? And this one is one that I'm particularly connected to because I helped facilitate this at the Guam Museum, Sergeant Yokoi's pottery collection. We know about Yokoi's cave. We know a little bit about Yokoi's story, all of us, but there is a more profound, hidden, often untold and unmentioned story that is tied to his pottery collection. And the pottery collection is here at the Guam Museum, part of it. And in this Secret Guam podcast episode, I talk about what does this pottery collection mean? And this is the part of Yokoi's story that is often never mentioned. And so the Secret Guam podcast is about stories that don't often get told, that sometimes is left on the cutting room floor to mix metaphors, or is kind of stuck in the footnotes, or you have to go deep to the back of the archives to find it. And so I love telling these sorts of stories. Now, one final thing that I want to share is that if you support Fanachu at the highest level, which is the Tulu level, then you get access to radical readings. Radical readings started off before the pandemic as a discussion group that Independent Guåhan hosted. But then eventually I decided to turn it into a Patreon perk, so an exclusive. So what it is instead now is these are like lectures. Every radical reading is connected to a text or something significant. And when I say text, I don't just mean a book. It could be an album. So there's been radical readings on Gunaifen Munglu by J.D. Crutch. There's been, or it could be a picture. It could be a poem, right? This is a radical reading last year on Lukaufua, which is on the pilgrimage that happens for the start of Chamorro New Year. And so this is a deep dive in which I talk about how this was started, the historical roots of this, and what it symbolizes and what it means. And so this radical readings are for those who really want to know the history and really want to get into this and really want to break things down. Destiny's Landfall. This is a radical reading. It talks about this history book, putting it in the context of earlier histories, but also then talking about like what is valuable about this as a history book. What are its limitations? In 1920, and this one I did in honor of Museum Month last year, Guam to get a museum. 2026 is the 100-year anniversary of the dream of the Guam Museum, the first documented instance when Chamorros express that there should be a museum for their history and their culture. And so here we talk about that first call in the Guam Recorder in October 1926, when Chamorros call for a museum to be created and what it means then in that historical time period, in that context. The most recent radical reading was about the history, the convoluted history of Standy Chamorros, Standy Guamanians, Fanogit Chamoru, the Guam Hymn. Talking about this song, which was originally written in English, then translated into Chamorro, and how it was written to potentially mean one thing, and then how it has evolved through the translation of it into Chamorro to result in becoming something very different. For most for all radical readings and for most Secret Guam podcast episodes, there's Dropbox folders that have articles, that have images, that have videos, all sorts of stuff that was used as research or just provide context to help you understand sort of the topics involved. The Secret Guam podcast and Radical Readings are really for those who want to know more in a deep way about Chamorro stories, Chamorro history, culture, language, and so on. And so now, para Guåhan gofapuraudzo por este mamaila nasakan. For me, I'm very excited about 2026. We have a whole number of things that we've got planned for what we're going to do, but things are still taking shape. Discussions are still being had about what it's going to look like, but sometimes I still can't believe that Fanachu is still around, and I still can't believe how how it has helped people. It was just this weekend that Senor Tom Bejado from Stelstar Productions, a musician, a member of the Litexan families, but also a producer who helped dozens, if not hundreds, of people take their songs that they had written in their Cocina San Hizum and turn it into an album, into a CD, into a cassette, that he passed away. And so, and with him passing away, he was, Sino Tom Gof Mamalo, Zomalao na Tautao, for somebody who did so much, who was playing the keyboard, with the Radiance, with other groups, who he could be very humble and very shy about talking about things. And so it was only through the help of the late Senor Kin Conception that I was able to get him onto the Fanachu podcast in 2023 for an episode to talk about the albums that he had worked on, the legacy of Stelstar Productions, his own experiences, his own connection to music, and so on. And so, at that time, people, maybe a lot of people didn't necessarily care about that because that's how it is. You don't miss somebody until they're gone a lot of times. But since he passed away, hundreds of people have been watching that episode and downloading the audio for the podcast that he was on. And people have been sending messages because he was very private. And whereas Stelstar Productions and Chamoru CDs and music was something that was very common, like buying Chamoru CDs, sending them, sharing them was something a bit more common a generation ago. It's we've forgotten about it now. It's easy then to forget the people who made it possible, the people who were the pioneers at that time. And so I was so glad that he, after much convincing, Zani Azudunya nai si Senor Kin Conception defunto, we were able to convince him to join in a Zoom call where then he talked about his life and talked about so many albums and working with so many musicians, and it was so amazing. And so for me, that's why this is important. It's important because we talk about decolonization. We talk about being in solidarity with others, but we also then amplify Chamorro voices. We preserve them, we document them, we amplify them too. And so, Baniro Sudzunai, Guahu Gumogoti Esti, Ibabao Fanatsu, Taiguya Zuna Carabao, just like that Carabao. It is my honor to carry the Fanachu banner. And so, si Dios masi por esti 10 años, please follow us and see what we have for 2026. Si Dios masi.